Yeah, bolo. He's Mr. Peter Butler, the new academic coach of Bangladesh youth teams, and he look after the youth teams in staying in Komlapur Stadium. So he's our journalist. He would like to question you later. You can brief them first.
Okay.
Your background and where you've been up to.
All right. My name's Peter Butler. I've come to oversee and run the elite academy here in Bangladesh. Very honoured and happy to be here. The reception has been very good. A little bit of background about me. I grew up at Huddersfield Town in the Championship. Went on, played through the Championship in England. Eventually I got to the Premier League, played in the Premier League with West Ham United. Whilst I was sort of working my way up and coming back down, I played over 500 games in England, and then just started to take my coaching licences. So which I did my UEFA B, UEFA A, UEFA Pro, and I've gone on and coached many teams. Asian Super League teams such as Terengganu, Sabah, Kelantan, we were champions, Singapore. I set up the academy in Myanmar. But I think most importantly, I've coached at national team level. So I understand what it's like to be a national team. I've been technical director as well at various teams, doubled up as both roles. But I've really had a big belief and I've placed a lot of emphasis on youth, because I think if you don't really support the youth and you don't strengthen your group with young competitive players, you don't get that competitive edge moving forwards. So I've always been a big believer in youth. Took Botswana after 3 years to 86 in the FIFA rankings with a young team full of youngsters, 18, 19, 20. And then now still, even 10 years on, 6, 7 years on, they're still playing their trade at national team level and playing in different places in Africa and also Europe. So I'm a big believer in youth, and I'm sure that's going to be one of your questions. Why have I coached such a long time at national team level and then come to work at youth level? Because these lads are the footprint, the future of Bangladesh football. But I'm a big believer in discipline, and it is a continuous process. Like we just spoke about previously, nobody's guaranteed a place. You've got to earn the right, and you have to continually show what you can do, because if anybody really slips below the mark, the benchmark, they'll be replaced. So I'm quite happy to take, obviously after the gentleman have spoke, I'm quite happy to take any questions or answer any of your queries. Why am I here in Bangladesh?
Coach, already you talk with the people
Yes, I have, yeah.
What was the message to the people?
I think the most important thing is about trying to... I was no different as a young boy in Yorkshire, which is a mad cricket environment, also football. And we grow up trying to live a dream. You know, you lay in bed and you dream of becoming a professional footballer and playing for the big clubs. I was a Leeds fan, so I wanted to play for Leeds, but I had to settle for West Ham, which probably, in my opinion, was better. And I want them to try and live and achieve their dreams. And if I can give them an opportunity, a leg up, and a helping hand, and it's all about, and I've spoke about this with the players, is that it's not about getting increments of 10-20% overnight. That doesn't happen. We're talking about marginal gains, 0.5%, 1%. You know, every day you come into training, it has to be a learning curve, a learning environment where you want to learn, you want to pick up little bits of information, and it's like having a memory bank. And that's what I've been trying to place the emphasis on with these lads after my conversation with them, is that it's all about learning, continuous learning curve, and it's a process.
Coach, you have already said a bit of why you are here now. Again, I want to repeat, you are a professional coach and you can take any team at any stage. But what things inspired you to come in Bangladesh which is ranked in 184 in the Bangladesh, and actually there is no grassroots development for senior team. What things inspired you to come here?
I had a chat with the president, Mr. Salahuddin. We had a conversation about another role, which obviously never, at the time, this role was more pressing. And I've always believed in a challenge. I could have stayed in Africa and taken up a technical director role back at my old association where I was for 3 years, Liberia. But I decided I needed a new challenge and a change. This opportunity came up. Some people may say I'm overqualified for it, which I disagree with. I think, you know, you can learn something from everybody. I'm a simple, humble guy from Yorkshire, and I think I believe if I can not only just educate and help the young players, there's 56 of them, I think. Some will come, some will go, and the coaches around also. If I can pass on my knowledge, impart my knowledge, and there's an old saying is actions speak 1,000 words, show rather than tell. If I can show those coaches and players how another way of doing it, and they can learn, and I can learn from them, then Bangladesh development over my period will improve.
I have one more question, and I am from my side is it. Coach, you played at a high level in England, and you also coached several national teams. Actually, what is your initial concept of Bangladesh football?
I've spoken to quite a few people in Bangladesh football, because I was asked if I was interested in working in Bangladesh football, but I think it's an emerging country. It's a country where I know they love the cricket, and I love my cricket because I'm a Yorkshireman, but you know, there's also a great love and a great desire, and it's good to see the girls, we were just talking about that, the ladies team, moving upwards and forwards. But I do believe as long as there's a will there to learn and create a learning environment, I think that's super important for these young lads and the lads coming below, that it gives them the impetus and an opportunity to improve, not only as footballers but also as human beings. And I think that's really important, because I've taken that with me along my road, my development journey, and these guys are just starting it.
Coach, you told that under your coaching, Botswana was FIFA ranking 86, and now you're the academic coach of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh national team has another coach. Do you think Bangladesh also can develop their ranking, high ranking, their position, Bangladesh?
Listen, the senior national team is not my responsibility. That's somebody else's responsibility. I've coached at national team level for 7, 8 years, and we've had a lot of success. And I think what I would turn around and say is that how do you gauge success? Do you gauge success by winning every game, winning matches? Yeah, results are important. But also there's the other side of it, where success is about bringing these young lads through and placing them on the doorstep of the national team coach and saying to him, I've done my job, now can you pick these players and give them exposure? That to me is really important, because I've done that and had a lot of success at it. It's whether you're brave enough to play them. That's a different matter.
Coach, I want to know two things that the last 1.5 years, these children were taught by another British guy, Mr. Paul Smoley. Do you think that it will be quite helpful for you, because they were quite adapted with the British model? Do you think it can help for you? And do you know the Mr. Paul Smoley? And another thing is that they are Mr. is 16 to 18 year old. So do you think that for real development and grassroots, the DFF should start from it early, like 10, 12 or 14 at least?
First and foremost, I don't really know Paul. You know, our paths never crossed. We were on a different trajectory throughout our career, so I would not want to comment on somebody I don't really know. But Paul has reached out to me and we have spoken, and I'm sure he has a good grasp of the situation here in Bangladesh. I think in terms of the English model, the British model, I've done all my licenses with the English FA, A license, B, Pro, etc. But I'd like to look at myself as an international coach, because I've picked up things wherever I've gone, and I spent a lot of time in Asia, I've spent a lot of time in Africa. I understand. I think the most important thing when you go into any environment is to try and understand and learn the culture. And I think the quicker you do that, the better you're going to be, better for it in terms of understanding, people, your peers, the people you work alongside, the coaches, and I try and treat everybody equal, and more importantly, understanding the players, because they're all from different backgrounds. And English model, the English were always targeted, labelled of playing a long ball, route one football, which is a myth, which is not true. It's the best league in the world, but full of foreign. And I think there's a place, a little bit for every, a place for everything in the modern day era. And I think you've got to keep evolving and rolling with the times. So to answer your question, I've got an open mind, and I'm open to all ideas and suggestions. But yeah, I am experienced, and I hope my experience comes into play and helps these young players.
Coach, before coming here, do you have any chat with Mr. Paul Smalley and Jamie Day?
আরে ওই প্রশ্নগুলো তো কেন করেন? সে আসতেছে, সে আরেকজনকে জিজ্ঞেস করে আসবে না। এটা তো কোনো কোশ্চেন হলো না। সে আসছে এখানে করতে, সে আরেকজন সাথে সে কথা বলে আসবে।
I have two questions. Number one, first of all, welcome at BFF Academy here. Number one question is your new surrounding, new environment, and a new atmosphere. There is two parts. Number one, players. Number two, new coaching staff and your associates. Who get first priority, the coaching staff or the players?
I think that's quite not an hypothetical question. I think it goes hand in hand. I mean, the top and bottom is you're always doing an assessment of actually the players, where the players and the coaches are under constant scrutiny. The environment is not new to me. I've lived in Africa and some really tough, challenging environments, and this is no different. It's not about the place; it's the people who actually make a place, and that goes hand in hand with a football environment, a football club, and creating a football culture. And the culture comes from, the culture is set by the head coach, as it gets dripped down, fed into your coaching staff and then into your players. If you don't get your coaching staff right, you have a problem, because then you can't really give that correct message or teach those disciplines and morals, etc., to your young players. So it's a knock-on effect. And at the end of the day, me as being a head coach of a national team previously, national teams I've worked at, and so I've always believed in it's all about creating the right culture within your environment, and that's about discipline and manners, how you handle yourself on the pitch as well as off the pitch, vice versa. That to me is an important part of football development and self-development.
Coach, you're playing profile very high, and your coaching profile also high. But in this country, you are doing you handle the age level, and our national team coach, he's low profile coach, but he's handling the senior team. What is your feelings in between this?
Do you know what? I don't really want to comment on any individuals, because I think that's grossly unfair. If the national team coach, if he ever wants to ask me for any advice or anything like that, I'm more than happy to give advice. I'm here to help Bangladesh football, and if I can help the young lads and I help the coaches, and anybody, I may have experience, but I'm not here to.
You don't feel jealous?
Why jealous?
Last question.
আচ্ছা দেখ
Last question from
আচ্ছা
One question. As a coach, what is your philosophy?
My philosophy is all about getting the best out of what you've got to work with. You could have the best players in the world, and invariably, and you could turn around and say, I'm going to play like a lot of these foreign coaches do, ticky-tacky football, we're going to play out from the back, we're going to play beautiful football, and then when the pressure's on, they start hitting it long. It's all about sticking to your beliefs.
So what kind of football philosophy you want to
I want my teams to play.
Is it traditional English football or?
No. Like I said to you, I think it's a myth about traditional English football, because I think if you go and live in England and work in England and coach in England and spend a lot of money watching games, because tickets are expensive, you will see and understand that everybody has a different style of football, and there is no traditional way of English football. West Ham in the 70s and 80s played some of the most beautiful attacking football you could imagine, and I want these young lads to go out and be creative, play on the front foot. There's no way my teams are going to sit back. You know, we'll play out from the back when we can play out from the back. We'll have to play a little bit, hit the front man when we have to hit the front man. It's all about being pragmatic, horses for courses, and getting the best out of what you've got. But I want my teams to play attacking football, because that's what excites people, and that's what encourages young players to want to come to training to learn and express themselves.